In 1652, the Dutch East India Company established a small settlement on the Cape of Good Hope. It was meant to be a supply station for ships. But that small settlement was the beginning of over 3 centuries of colonialism in South Africa, a history of dispossession, exploitation, and institutionalized racism that continues to shape the country today. This isn't just a story of the past, it's a living struggle. Colonialism in South Africa was a multi-layered project. It began with land dispossession as European settlers, first the Dutch and later the British, seized vast tracts of land from indigenous people like the Khoi and the San. This wasn't just a physical act, it was a cultural and economic one, destroying traditional ways of life and creating a system where black South Africans were relegated to the role of a labor force. This dispossession was the foundation of what would become the apartheid regime. The mineral revolution of the late 19th century with the discovery of diamonds and gold intensified this exploitation. Colonial powers and white settlers reaped the wealth while black South Africans were forced into dangerous labor under brutal conditions, their rights and freedoms systematically stripped away. This established a deep-seated economic inequality that persists to this day. The formal end of colonialism, with the establishment of the Union of South Africa in 1910, didn't lead to freedom for the majority. Instead, it cemented white minority rule. The policies of segregation and discrimination that followed culminated in the horrifying system of apartheid in 1948. Apartheid was a form of internal colonialism, a domestic system of racial oppression that continued the colonial project's goals of white supremacy and economic dominance. South Africans fought back. The anti-apartheid struggle was a powerful anti-colonial movement led by organizations like the African National Congress. Their resistance took many forms: nonviolent civil disobedience, mass protest, and eventually armed struggle. It was a long, brutal struggle fueled by the resilience and determination of a people who refused to be defined by their oppressors. While apartheid ended in 1994, the fight against colonialism is far from over. Today, South Africans are engaged in a powerful and ongoing struggle for decolonization. This new phase of resistance goes beyond political freedom and focuses on dismantling the enduring legacies of the past. A key battleground is education. Student movements like the Fees Must Fall and Roads Must Fall campaigns have challenged the Eurocentric curriculum and colonial symbols on university campuses. They argue that true liberation requires a decolonization of knowledge to make space for African history, African philosophy, and African languages. The issue of land is another critical element. The vast majority of agricultural land in South Africa is still owned by a small white minority. Debates around land reform and redistribution are central to the decolonial movement as South Africans seek to rectify the original sin of colonial land dispossession. Finally, there's the ongoing battle against neocolonialism. This refers to the economic and cultural influence that still ties South Africa to its former colonial masters. South Africans are working to build a more inclusive, equitable, and authentically African society, one that celebrates the diverse cultures and histories while addressing the profound inequalities left behind after centuries of oppression. This isn't just the history of one nation and its former colonial masters. The progress of South Africa is a testament to the continent, a roadmap for its neighbors, and a look into the struggles and benefits that other former colonies and colonial powers could use for their own pathways to inclusive societies that honor the contributions of others.